Hey, 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 good evening, everybody. It's Dr. Dietrich, and welcome to another episode of Relax Well with Dr. Dietrich. Actually, it's a very, very special episode of Relax Well because I have a guest. All right, a very special guest. But before I bring him on, I wanted to let y'all know that today is November 4th, of course, but actually it is National Stress Awareness Day. And it actually happens to be the day after the election. I mean, how apropos, because I mean, talk about stress, right? I mean, are y'all stressed out there? Please say yes if you are. Say no if you're not too, but put it in the chat. Hey, I see Katrina joining me. Thank you very much for joining me. Yes, we're definitely living in stressful times. And I wanted to bring my friend over here, Dr. Ken, so we can talk about that. So, this is Dr. Ken. He is a board certified psychiatrist, and he's going to be joining me here tonight, to discuss post election stress in the workplace. Here we go. Hey, Dr. Ken.
Hey, Dr. Dietrich, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for joining me tonight on an episode of Relax Well with Dr. Dietrich. I'm going to actually ask you to formally just introduce yourself, okay?
Okay, thank you. Well, again, Dr. Dietrich, thank you for having me as a guest on your broadcast. I am Dr. Ken Richmond, board certified psychiatrist, veteran, and corporate leadership coach. I
Mhm.
help corporate leaders pinpoint leadership issues so we can develop thriving workplaces with less turnover, increase workplace performance, and decrease turnover.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So, I mean, thank you so much, Dr. Ken, for joining me on National Stress Awareness Day. And, then, we're post-election. I mean, of course, as of today, Dr. Ken, we don't know who our president is. And even with the uncertainty of this, or, even with or without the results, we know no matter who you voted for, tensions are high. I mean, they're just high. And furthermore, those of you out there who are out working outside of the home and have to go someplace to work, you're working with other people, right? And so, more than likely it's going to be stress in the workplace because everybody has something to say about something, and we're all different personalities under one roof trying to get a job done. So this is no matter who you voted for, right? And so I wanted to just kind of start off by saying that we're not going to be talking about the actual political issues, but we're going to be talking about how you handle the stress of politics, as it pertains in the workplace. Okay. So I see Katrina has joined us. Um, whoever comes in, which is great. Thank you so much. And please just, hit where you're coming from. Please share this live, tag folks to come in and see it. I see Dr. Erica. Thank you
Dr.
so much,
Erica.
Dr. Erica, for joining. Very nice. And we're talking about this post-election or post-vote stress in the workplace. So we still don't know who the president is. Tensions are high on both sides, all sides. And so we just want to talk about how we can help with stress in the workplace.
Right.
Okay.
And
So,
Dr. Dietrich, you're the expert on relaxation, so I think you're the perfect person for this.
oh, thank you very much. But Dr. Kidd, I have to admit, it's been a little tension filled in my household as well. So it's even more important to implement these relaxation techniques that I know and love so I can keep
Correct.
calm. Okay. So, all y'all who are watching out there, please, please, please stay tuned towards the end because we have some great announcements to make, and we're going to talk about how you can contact Dr. Ken after the show is over. Okay. So, before I get started, and hey, Dr. Kadisha, thanks for joining. More than likely, y'all already know this, but I wanted to kind of just briefly share with y'all how do you know if you're having this acute stress with all this going on at work or even at home? So, what are some of your thoughts, Dr. Ken? How does a person know if they're really like acutely stressed and they're like, eh.
Well, they're probably not sleeping that well,
Exactly.
and you can imagine, some folks may be glued to the TV or their
Hmm.
phones or, whatever electronic device you have, whatever choice you may have of that. But yeah, they're not sleeping well.
Exactly, exactly. So that's another a great point. Your sleeping is horrible. You may feel like your heart is racing. You may have this unsettled feeling on the inside. This like, just nervousness. You might be like you said, frequently checking your phone or TV, just like always hyper vigilant. What's going on next? What's the next update? What's the next update? You may even have like bubble guts. You know how the tummy gets, I just feel queasy and nauseous. I just can't. I'm gonna throw up. You know what I mean? I hold my stress in my stomach too. I'm just, by the way, that's the FYI. Maybe
Yeah,
TMI, but
that's that anxiety. That anxiety gets stirred up real quick.
exactly, your anxiety, your difficulty breathing, dry mouth, all that stuff. So those are some hints just to let you know that you probably are experiencing some stress,
Right.
centered around this. Okay. So how have y'all been feeling these past couple of days, with this election and stuff? Put it in the chat. Hey Marsha, hey Dr. Charlotte, thank y'all for
Hey,
joining.
hey,
Thank you,
thanks
thank
for
you, thank you.
joining.
Yes. So put in the chat what y'all feelings are right now, and what are y'all doing? If y'all having stress, how are y'all handling it? If y'all handling it, what are you doing? Okay. So again, me and Dr. Ken are talking about specifically as it pertains into the workplace. Now, in the workplace, how can you help to manage your election stress? Okay. Um, some of these may be more known or obvious to y'all, but they still work. Okay. So I wanted to give y'all just a couple of suggestions from the individual handling stress standpoint. Okay. So one thing is, for example, don't talk about it. I mean, you at work, you're supposed to be working. Don't talk about it. Do your job admirably and just, don't talk about it. Resist the urge, because it's not.
So let me interject a counter argument, right? So
Uh-huh.
what if they say, hey, you know what? Freedom of expression, freedom of speech, how do we challenge that, especially in the workplace, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, it's one of
Uh-huh.
those topics that we have to really, really regulate. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's going to cause a lot of disruption in the workplace. And I mean, it's just for those of us who are working, have been in the workplace, heard stories, have family members in the workplace. We know how tough some of these conversations can be. And adding politics to the mix can make it more explosive.
Exactly. Yes. I see Nellie has joined us. Thank you, Nellie. Yeah, Dr. Kadisha said her coworkers don't talk about it. Marcia says we don't talk about politics in the office, period. Yes. So another way to help decrease some of that stress in the workplace dealing with this is don't frequently check your social media. Not only are you supposed to be working, it's gonna make you more upset because you're trying to look at each second what's going on each second, and plus you're not doing your work. You know what I mean? So it's just detracting from your work. What do you say about that, Dr. Ken?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
In reading some of the articles on workplace behavior and stuff of that sort, I came across one where it stated that 79% of companies don't even have a policy that covers how political discussions are to be handled in the workplace. And that was from an article produced by SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management. I think it
Hmm.
was titled like, How Should HR Handle Political Discussions at Work? Literally, that was a title. So it's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Uh-huh.
But when you find that over 79% of the companies that were polled or surveyed for a particular study, that they didn't have a policy on that, it's a
Wow.
free-for-all.
I know it really sounds like it. Yes. So that's another thing too I wanted to bring up too as far as all this stuff is you want to try and keep things in perspective. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we're still living, we're still got to go to work, we still got to pay our bills, take care of the kids, get food and all that stuff. You still have a life to live and
Yeah.
just kind of rest in the fact that you know that you already voted, and there's literally nothing you can do at this point but just to see how it unfolds. You know what I mean? So kind of releasing that with you saying, "Oh, I'm going to worry about this extra," like that's going to change the outcome. You see what I mean? So it won't. But just kind of rest in the fact that it is what it is. You've cast your vote. Now let's see what's going to happen.
Right. And
Mhm.
some people didn't vote. That was a choice they made as well. So
Yes.
that can also create arguments in the workplace if
Oh, yes.
someone did not vote. But that was their right to do that or not to do so.
Mhm. 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 Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about this? So, I made some suggestions and stuff, namely don't talk about it. But I mean, for the people who just have to talk about it or just have to say something, I guess one of the things is maybe talk to somebody who you're like-minded with, and maybe that won't be as contentious, versus somebody you totally disagree with, and that means you're gonna start a big brouhaha in the office. You know what I mean? So if you just 100% have to talk about it, maybe talk about it with someone who's like-minded, if you know that, because that's the thing.
Yeah, that would definitely be a starting point. Again, if we have to be, so there are no absolute rules when it comes to policing political conversations in the workplace. You cannot be absolute, right?
Right.
Because there are so many laws, and each state has different laws, and municipalities have different. So here's an example. So Popeyes, oh goodness, let's just say fast food chain X in one location in a certain
Uh-huh.
state, let's say
Mm-hmm.
Virginia, because that's where I'm at,
Uh-huh.
and another one in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
If the state laws are different, the policies have to be in line with those state laws. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
not, you can't say, well, they did it a certain way on the East Coast, and now we should be doing it the same way on the West Coast, or it's not going to be the same because those laws have to be considered. And when it comes to
Okay.
employment law, I'm not a lawyer. I don't study employment law, but
Mm-hmm.
in reading some of the articles, like there's a level of complexity that's there where you cannot put a blanket approach to creating policies. You will
Right.
get in a lot of trouble apparently if you start doing those kind of things.
Oh,
Because
okay.
in other words, certain political discussions are permitted if it impacts the workplace.
Right. If
So
it's pertaining to the
it
work. Okay.
has to relate in some way. An example would be, let's say, public works workers. If they're working on the roadways and they have concerns about the speed limit, you know, and there's a referendum or some new political item that is being considered, that may be a pertinent discussion in the workplace. Hey, yeah, I really think they should lower the speed limit from 70 on these roads that we're working on to whatever else. That may be pertinent. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're in a doctor's office and you're talking about, let's talk about a referendum 1 and 2, which one are you going to vote for? That would be
Yeah.
that would be
Right.
an appropriate conversation to have in that regard.
Right. I got you. Let me look at a couple more comments. Marcia says, Dr. Khadijah says, right, except the things I cannot change. Nellie says, toxic, yes, in the work environment for sure. And Marcia says, politics is a good way to lose family members and friends. It's not worth it. Oh,
Oh,
she also
Marsha
said, I
isn't
love
playing. Marsha
Popeyes.
Decker, she's not playing.
And then Dr. Khadijah said, speaking in a neutral fashion about it helps when my coworkers and I discuss Texas. Yes. Um, so also, since I'm, America's relaxation doctor, just to think about this, when you find yourself thinking about it and you're getting upset, you know, or even like if you happen to discuss it with someone else and you start getting upset, this is the perfect time to start employing some of these relaxation techniques in the workplace. And one of the things like I always tout is, that deep breathing to help, calm down that sympathetic drive and that anxiety that you're going to be experiencing. So just excusing yourself, okay, give me just a moment, please. Or after you tell somebody, no, I can't talk about this now, you'll go off and do some deep breathing. Look, hurry up and undo your essential oil. Let's start doing some.
Oh, Dr. You went through that too fast. Slow it down. Let demonstrate what it would actually look like.
Okay, so yes, doing some deep breathing is just the best. That's my go-to, 100% go-to relaxation technique, especially
Okay.
in the acute setting. So, I just sit there calmly and quietly. Sometimes I'm able to close my door, sometimes not. Or, honestly, even in the bathroom, you go to the restroom, just sit there and just close your eyes and think of something pleasant, or talk yourself down, saying, I'm going to calm down. This is not worth it. Take a deep breath in through your nose, count for like 4 times, hold it, and then blow it out deeply. And I'm telling you, Dr. Ken, you do this 3 or 4 times, it will help. It will help. You just got to try it. Just keep practicing. And like I
I
said,
just did it.
it does help. I mean, I love it. And then, like I said, you could throw in there an essential oil.
Okay.
Just do
What's your
that.
favorite? What's your favorite aroma?
I love tea tree and I love lavender and
Oh,
lemon. Those are my favorite scents. So it
lavender tends to
depends
reduce
on the
anxiety.
person. I love it. So yeah, doing that, taking a walk for lunch,
Yeah.
taking a walk on your break time, have some alone time. Don't be checking your phone. Just go have some alone time and just kind of calm things down. So those are just some good techniques and some good ideas, just to help decrease some of your stress in the workplace. Yes,
You
Marcia
know,
says yes, it does, and deep breathing does help. Katrina, yes, thank you, Dr. Kadisha. Okay, so let me just ask you this, Dr. Ken. Okay, so if you're at work and you kind of find yourself talking about politics and you don't necessarily agree with them, or you walk into the break room and everybody's talking about such and such and whatnot, and what do you do or how do you handle that? I guess from that type of standpoint, if you're like the manager or you're the leader, the boss in the whole place, what do you do?
you know, being in leadership positions or management positions can be tough, right? We all know that. But with that responsibility, you have to be mindful of setting the tone. You have to model the behavior that you want your subordinates. I usually like to use the word junior staff, junior
Hmm.
employees,
Hmm.
junior colleagues to also exemplify, right? If you're participating in a conversation, you're sort of giving them the green light to continue the conversation. Because in any conversation, somebody always will get in their feelings. They may not
Yeah.
show it in the moment, but as soon as that meeting is over, they're throwing a hissy fit. They're going on social media. They are posting, right? And to your point about being able to use social media, we already check our phones so often, and that's just with our social circles. You
Hmm.
hear a ping, you got to check right then and there to see, hey, who posted something. But
Hmm.
right now with the political climate and the stress and related to that, you want to be up to date on the facts as soon as, or the information as soon as they happen, and that can lead to obviously decreased production or productivity in the workplace, and it can affect the
Right.
morale.
Absolutely. Because ultimately, you're at work. You're supposed to be doing your job.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And so,
just to interject again,
uh,
the some companies have policies about the use of phones. You can use it on your break.
hmm
You know, you can imagine somebody who's managing the front desk of an office being on their phone, head down, and then something's going on. Or a cashier, you go to the store and you're trying to cash out, and the cashier is like, "Wait, I gotta send this little message back. Give me 1 second. I gotta finish this post."
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a little interesting, right?
Yeah. 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 So, one of the things I was thinking about in anticipation of this live too is like, suppose you have a coworker, even if they're a friend coworker, and somebody they walk up to you and be like, "Well, who did you vote for?" So I was thinking, I would be like, "Well, there's a couple of ways you can answer it. You could be like, well, it's none of your business, really. I know that's more of the blunt way to do it, but another good way you can say is, well." I voted for the candidate who best represents my values and interests, and I'll just leave it at that. And that kind of cuts it. It's a polite way to say the same thing, but it's a way to
Right.
cut it off. So, what do you think about that? If someone like approaches you and be like, "Well, who did you vote for?" What
Well, I
would you?
think your response is a perfect one. I mean, that would be something I would use. You can also say something like, "Well, I appreciate you asking, but that's not something I discuss at work."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
you kind of have to like catch it, deflect it, and then drop it. Don't perpetuate that conversation if you're not interested in having that conversation.
Right. So what happened if you're a leader in your organization, you come in, I know we kind of touched on it, but you walk in on employees having like a heated discussion and it's starting to create a ruckus and getting out of hand and all that stuff. What do you do as a leader or manager there?
Well, the hope is that you have a policy about the potential for workplace violence, right?
Mm,
Um, Many companies have policies on that. How do you recognize the signs? Arguments. You know, in arguments with anybody about any topic, that could be a warning sign. So you have to address it. So ideally, there needs to be a zero tolerance policy or attitude about that type of behavior, because things can spiral out of control and
quickly.
exactly. And if you're not mindful about the small events, how are you going to handle the big ones?
I totally agree. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
couple more people checking in too. Marcia had commented, lavender smells good. Melvina, oh, thank you. Thanks for joining. Tea tree and lavender.
Oh,
Katrina, Egyptian musk. I see Latasha. Thank you so much for joining. Hi. Um, Dr. Khadijah, she has a coworker who complained about being snagged by Facebook for a statement Facebook felt suppressed voting, that they suppressed voting. So she kept silent. Hey, Nadine, thank you. Thank you for joining. Estella, thank you. Susie, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I mean, this is definitely a timely topic. I mean, it's very relevant. We're all working, different personalities under the same roof with different, political ideas. But it's just really not that appropriate to discuss it in the workplace. It's going to decrease your productivity, increase attitudes. It's just not the best thing to engage in. You know what I
yeah, it's
mean?
not productive. And to that point, 56% of individuals who responded to a survey in that same SHRM article that I mentioned
Uh huh.
earlier, by Susan Milligan, it it said that they said 56% of the respondents indicated that the discussions about politics in the workplace has increased. Guess how recently did that occur? Just think of the time frame. How many years do you think that's been going on?
Four, four. Yeah. Okay.
In the last 4 years, that those topics have been permeating its way or their way into the workplace and conversations in the workplace.
Oh yeah, because like I said, no, we're not going to talk about specific people, but definitely whoever is engaged in politics, there's definitely a lot to be talking about. I mean, there's a lot of issues that are going on, and this country is definitely, different. As each president brings something different.
Right.
Different controversies, different topics, and whatnot. And no matter who you're voting for or not voting for, you're going to be, stressed. You're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be talking about it. How's it affecting me? How's it affecting my family and all that stuff? You bring that stuff over into the workplace too. You want to express yourself, which isn't really appropriate, but that can cause a lot of issues, and it still is going on the same lines of having stress, you know, and chronic stress isn't the best. That's one thing to add on to your chronic stress list, which is not the best.
Yeah. And to your point, managers, leaders, people in supervisory positions, they will not be protected from having conversations, political conversations.
Oh,
The
wait, what do you
employees,
mean? What do you
the
mean?
non-supervisory employees,
Oh,
there are
okay.
some protections. They can talk about those things, if it's relevant to their job. But again, the laws are just so different. So it's one of those things where folks may learn a lot after they get in trouble. And it's unfortunate that sometimes that's how we learn, or our policies are then introduced. But that's a big thing when it comes to when you see the climate changing. If there are policies that are already in place and you haven't revisited in 6 months, a year, that may be the time to send a refresher notification to say, hey, just a reminder about X, Y, and Z. I remember like time in the military, if there was ever a certain event coming up, there are always these reminders that are sent out. So when not, it's
Mm-hmm.
suicide awareness, sexual harassment, those kind of things. There's always these. You may get sick of getting them, but it's pertinent because you don't want an
Mm-hmm.
event to happen and then you send it out,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
you
That
want to be
makes
proactive as much as you can. And an employer has, as I would call it, an ethical duty to ensure that employees have a safe working environment.
yes.
So that all that violence and all that other stuff, that is not the workplace is not for it.
Agreed. Very good. Does anybody? We're getting ready to start heading on down. Does anybody have any extra points to make or any thoughts or questions? Um, because like I said, we have our special guest, Dr. Ken, and he talks with leaderships and management and all that stuff. So Dr. Khadijah said the nurse manager at my company got fired for political statements he made on Facebook. Even managers must be aware. Absolutely.
Right. They may not be protected. So you got to be careful with what you're posting because it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole, that at will employees are at will. You have an at will employment contract or an
No, what is
arrangement
that? What is
at
that?
will. So that's
Uh-huh.
where an employer can terminate you for really, like no cause.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Doctors, we have contracts, we have
Uh,
notice that we have to give 30
uh-huh.
days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever the case may be. But
Uh,
some employment arrangements, they don't need to give you notice. They can say this just didn't work out for you or for us, and they can terminate based on that.
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's
So the stuff you don't know again is the stuff that would get you in trouble. But it's just leave that conversation. Politics in the workplace, leave it out of the leave it alone. Leave it for after hours, before work and
okay.
after work.
Right. Exactly. Okay. I think we might start wrapping it up, Dr. Ken. I see a
Okay.
whole bunch of wonderful, great comments, and again, thank y'all for joining. So, Dr. Ken, how can people find out more about you and get in contact with you and find out more?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So folks can follow me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. So www.facebook.com/Dr. Ken Richmond. That's DrKenRichmond. Or they can visit my website. That's www.drkenrichmond.com. And yeah, my email information will be on there as well.
Excellent. Dr. Kadisha, can you put that in the chat? Well, great, great, great. And so everybody, me and Dr. Ken, we joined forces for this timely conversation tonight, and we also joined literary platforms. So
Yes.
what do I mean by that? So we have actually bundled both of our books. We're both best-selling authors, and yes, you can get both of our books. Let me put this up there. Okay, I'm gonna hide you for a second.
Hey.
Dr. Ken.
I'm here.
Okay, what is your book about?
Yeah, but I couldn't hear you there. So my
Yeah.
book is entitled Mental Blocks: A Concise Corporate Guide to Employee Mental Health. It's really out, my way of introducing or highlighting the importance of leadership and management, recognizing that mental health symptoms, mental health conditions are in the workplace, and we're trying to
Mhm.
figure out a healthier way or a more effective way of how we're able to address those um, rather hard conversations to have and put words to behaviors that we're seeing. And it
Okay.
helps, by just discussing everything from your leadership style to the common conditions in the workplace and questions we need to start asking in order to make the conversation meaningful.
Oh, great. Let me see your book because I had to put the graphic down.
Oh yeah, here it is. Here it
Oh,
is.
wonderful. Mental blocks. Excellent. A
Yes.
concise corporate guide to employee mental health. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you,
Well,
Dr.
you have your
Ken.
book too now. We got to put
Yes,
your book
I'm
on
getting ready to
blast.
mention it. Y'all can kind of see it back here too.
Yeah.
So mine is Relaxed and Ready, a simple roadmap to reducing workplace stress and frustration. Okay. And it basically is helping you in the workplace talk about stress, how it affects you, how you can incorporate relaxation techniques in the workplace and stay productive. So, of course, you don't want to just go to work and start relaxing. You want to be able to go throughout your day while you relax and still be productive because you still are at work. Okay. And so excellent. As for me, y'all knew who I am, I hope. I'm Dr. Dietrich Gorman, a board certified family medicine physician. I'm a speaker, best-selling author, America's relaxation doctor, and I help those individuals who are stressed at work learn to relax and refocus in order to have a more healthy and productive and fulfilled life. And I also want to remind y'all that a week from today, I'm going to be launching my reflective journal. Woohoo! Grateful and Ready, a reflective journal to fuel your soul. Okay. This is also a very, very timely book. Like Dr. Ken and I's book is very timely, because no matter what you're going through, you're going to want to end 2020 on a high note. And so I encourage y'all to join me for my official launch next Wednesday. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, not 8. Of course, I'm going to be advertising a lot in the next couple of days, so you'll be seeing all that information. So, please go to my event page and, respond to that. So, Dr. Ken, again, thank you so much for joining me. Um, Above all, I wish you much success as you move forward. Are you getting ready to do anything yourself?
Yeah, well, thank you for that plug, and I appreciate being on your show as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm actually with my Richmond Medical Services brand. I'm actually going to be launching tomorrow at
Uh-huh.
4 p.m. on my Facebook page. So it's a telepsychiatry platform. The goal there is to fight stigma, improve or increase mental health access, and to get folks to live the life that they deserve.
Oh, people really, y'all need to hear that. Y'all need to please go to his page and look that up. Dr. Kadisha, she put that in there. Please, please, please go there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very important for your mental health, in life and in work. So, okay, Dr. Ken, I wish you much success as you move forward. And all y'all out there, thank you very much for joining us and joining me on another episode of Relax Well with Dr. Dietrich. So, y'all take care out there. Please stay safe. And above all, relax well. See y'all next time.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye, Dr. Ken.